This is a fun solve. Flat side, every other piece inside out, every other piece inside out. And so you can, but in the bit, I'm going to do the, oh, I'll just do it right here. So I'm going to do a super flip. I don't know if that's really what it's called, but the checkered pattern, checkerboard pattern plus one more flip. So every other one. Come on. So I'm, again, doing every other one. Not being very efficient at this today. Sorry about that. Then red. So I did it over the green corner. Now I did the yellow, then the red, and you go back and do the yellow. And what's really cool about the way this ends is you get the color pattern of a checkerboard, but you get a totally different pattern of the pieces, of the inside out pieces, that is really cool. So we'll get to see that in just a second. So you can see that it's the checkerboard pattern totally, but you'll see that there's these gaps here for half of it, and then gaps here for half, where there's these gaps here, and then only half of the top is flip-flopped here, so you get, as you look at the top there. So it's kind of a fun thing, and same that goes there. You can kind of see that you get that top, but then the other edges are flat. So here you can see the gaps, and then you can see that it's raised and reverses that. So that's kind of a cool pattern if you ask me. And putting another checkerboard flip on it, you can see that, because remember originally blue and yellow was flat, when I get the blue and yellow checkerboard together, it's flat. And then the green and red sticks all the way out, it's all reversed, and it's all reversed. So just depending on what order you do the checkerboard pattern or a super flip, the different pattern you get. So again, flat, all flats, and then all inside out with the red and the green. So this is the same shape as the first solve, but with just the checkerboard pattern. So neat things you can do after you make any solve, always do the checkerboard super flip. So I'm going to do a super flip with partials, and then a super flip with every other. So I'm going to do two at a time on the super flip. I'm going around this corner. I'm going to do the green, yellow, red, and then do the yellows again. So I'm flipping on the screen part, and then I go to the yellow, and I'm doing every other piece, and then I'm going to do the red, and then you go back to yellow again. That way you get, and so it's not anything different than what you'd expect it to look like. It's pretty cool that way. But then pick a different corner. I'm going to pick this one here with the green, blue, and red. So I'm going to do it off the blue, but I'm going to do every other one instead of two at a time. So I'm doing every other piece there, blue, then green. Whatever that second color that you work on, you do that one twice. Do it second, and then you do it fourth. So I went off the blue, the green, now I'm going to go off the red, and then redo every other piece on the green in just a second. And it's a really neat pattern. I'm kind of laughing that I've had this puzzle for a long time and never thought to do this before. So you can see the pattern there is really pretty darn cool all the way around. And then looking at the centers is kind of fun too. So that's pretty cool. So now I'm going to do another pattern very similar to the one before, where I'm going to work off this corner here. I'm going to actually do half of it to start. So I'm going to do the green, then the yellow, then the red, and then go back to yellow, and then you can see that you get the nice cool centers like that, and that's kind of cool. And then pick a different corner. I'm going to pick the blue, yellow, green corner to do every other. So I'm going to go blue, blue, every other, green, every other, yellow, every other, and then green, but every other. So this is kind of cool the way this ends. So you get the triangles in the middle that are every other color, and then this is kind of fun the way they have the checkerboard patterns there in the centers. So that's kind of a fun way to do that one. Here's another pattern. It's kind of fun. Looking at the centers is kind of neat too. Making this next pattern kind of came by accident. Not sure what inspired me to try it. So I just do a half a turn, and then I pick one of the corners to do a super flip on it, and it comes out pretty darn cool. So I'm going to do the super flip here, which green, I'm going to go on the green, then the blue, then the red, and then back on the blue. So green, I have to make sure I do this right. Green, blue, red, blue. And so this has a really cool few different spots. So there's spots that aren't quite so cool, but this is awesome. And the fact that you can see the greens going that way, the reds are going that way, the blues are going that way, and the yellows are going that way. And you do see the same thing on the other side, where it's the opposite pieces on this side. You can see that there's the red yellows, the blue greens, but the same concept of the reds are going that way is a red triangle, there's a green triangle, a yellow triangle, and a blue triangle in every other color. Up here you can see that we have every other pieces here, and on the other side there's the other pieces. It's not quite as cute here. This one's actually pretty good because it has all the 4 colors in it, the red, yellow, green, and blue. But here it doesn't have any green in it. Here it has the red, yellow, green, blue, and here it doesn't have any blue in it. And so I don't know if there's a better way to start the pattern and the pattern. And you can see this has 3 blues in it, 3 greens, and it's not quite as cool, but it still ends pretty darn neat. And I've done some other versions close to it where I actually did instead of doing super flips, doing pattern fixing, like through here, and making a different pattern, and they're having the yellow greens all the way and the red greens all the way. But that does get hard to track and do. But that's a pretty cool pattern there too. This is a pattern I've shown on other videos. And the reason I'm just showing it again is after this is done, so I'm going to do 2 rows, 2 rows, 2 rows, 2 rows, and then flip to a different corner. When I say 2 rows, I'm going to do the super flip every other row, and then I'm going to I do that on the red, green, yellow corner, and then I do every other one on the red, green, blue corner. So every other one, making the super flip, and you'll see the pattern that goes after it. It's pretty cool. This looks kind of similar to some of the other patterns that I've had. The centers are actually kind of make it the coolest here, where you can see this blue-red up here, this blue-red up here, and then the yellows here, and then the polka dot. That's not the right word, but you can see the same kind of pattern here on the opposite side. With here's the yellows and the reds, the yellow and greens, the blues and reds. But these middle ones, here's a blue and red, and then a green and yellow. When I say middle, the ones that are on opposite sides of each other. So blue, red, there. So yeah, kind of a fun solve.